the words of man and the words of God. Okay. You pick up the Quran, you won't find that kind of stuff.
I never noticed that.
But you got to read this.
I'll
man.
check that
okay,
out.
no, so this is just one. Let me show you a few more.
Because the reason why I say I'll check it out,
yeah,
because I'm not sure if it's the same king, if it's what
right.
by that.
How many Isaiahs? Right. How many Isaiahs ruled Jerusalem for 1 year?
Right. So I don't know the context of it.
All right.
So I can't.
But I want you to go back and read it. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, totally.
Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he ruled in Jerusalem for 3 months. Mm-hmm. Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem for 3 months. This is King James.
Is it King James too?
Yeah. Hold on.
That'd be something fun to look at.
Yeah, interesting, right? I don't know why they put all this stuff in the beginning instead of beginning with.
Yeah, that's not a
King James. It is.
Oh yeah, the new King James. Oh, the new King James. Yeah. Yeah. So remember I told you about the new King James and the King James?
Exactly. Right. So that's what I'm saying is if you look at these words. The one that
I read is actually Young Literal's translation.
The Young Literal will have the same numbers. Go home and check it. Or Google it right now on your phone.
I'll check it out.
Check it out. No. This is just a few that I can show you that shows the corruption that went on in the Bible by showing difference in numbering, right?
Right.
So
the fact that there's a different number is like a question, right?
So
what happened?
So look at this, right?
It's not accurate.
2 Chronicles 9:25. Solomon had 4,000 stalls of horses and chariots and 12,000 horsemen whom he stationed at the chariot cities with the king at Jerusalem. Right? Now 1 King 4:26. Solomon had 40,000. You see this? Stalls of horses and chariots and 12,000 horsemen, right? So here it's 40,000, here it's 4,000. How many Solomons were there? There's more than one?
40,000, 4,000.
Yeah. So this is the thing.
That's interesting, man.
That's interesting, right? You got to think about. Now, what I want you to do is read the Quran. Take it with you. It's free, right? You have one?
Yeah, I have one.
Look through the whole thing and find me anything like this. You won't. Yeah. Because that's the words, the literal words of God, not the words of Muhammad. Right? And that's why we depend on that.
But I am going to tell you something.
Go ahead.
This is one version that's called the New King James.
Sure.
There's many other versions.
Look, right here is a different version. Let's look up the same numbers in here.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm
look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
I have at least 12 different versions of the Bible in my house. All of them have the same inaccuracies. Why?
Now, when you were reading the Bible, were you looking to look for mistakes? Or
No. Seek wisdom. I used to go to Bible studies before I went to a mosque. I read the Bible cover to cover before I read the Quran.
Did you ever read Proverbs 8?
I read the entire Bible, but I haven't memorized it, right? I haven't memorized it, right? But I went up to the Bible in Bible studies from cover to cover.
Gotcha.
Right? I was 15 at the time, right? I studied the Bible before I studied the Quran, right? I wasn't trying to criticize or argue or debate. I was 15. Totally. I was trying to learn. But the questions I asked in church got me kicked out a lot because, like a lot of it didn't make sense.
Totally. I get kicked out sometimes too, bro.
You feel me, right? Yeah. So,
but I also get embraced a lot with people on the way.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
But most churches, if you go in and say...
The popular one, totally, I agree. Actually, you know what they get called? They can either call me Jehovah's Witness or they call me Muslim.
You're Muslim. I told you. You just don't know it. All right. Check this out now. Now, what we say is, look, you find these inaccuracies. You know there's tampering. Because in the words of God, there can't be such... I mean, God knows 40 and 4,000 and 8 and 18, right? The Quran has none of those.
You know what? Trust me. I mean, I'm going to look at those numbers.
Good.
But even if I would see that, honestly, I see it as numbers. I don't see it as a life-giving source.
Right, but think about this, right?
So a life-giving source was something, for example, what I read.
Excellent.
Do not get angry, you know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
Wisdom, apply
but the issue gets to be is, everybody has some nice things they say, right? But if I come to you, and let's say you're studying math with me, right? And I tell you all kinds of really good math principles, and then I tell you 2 + 2 is 5. Right. And you're like, whoa, bro, I don't think so, right? Right. Then you would doubt my credibility, because if I don't know that 2 + 2 is 4, right? Even if the other nice things I said, I don't become the criterion, right? So the Quran becomes the criterion of right and wrong. Why? Because this is perfection. No contradiction, no numbers wrong, right? Google it, look it up, right? And then what we do is, okay, then we look at what we find in this Bible, and we believe that some of it's the truth, right?
How do you determine what's true, what's not?
Excellent. We compare this message to the Quran. And the Quran being the perfection, the words of Allah.
But shouldn't we compare it to the first source?
Right, but that's the thing. We don't have the original writings of Jesus.
How do we know that? Who told you that?
Historic research. Go look it up. Any biblical scholar.
Why historic? Because remember, in historical biblical theologians, all theologians who put things together, they have favoritisms.
If you look up online, Christian, non-Christian, Jewish scholars, one thing they all agree on is the original writings that were in the time of the Jesus are no longer with us. The best we have are 70 years, 40 years, 100 years after. And then those went through translations.
The Dead Sea Scrolls just a little bit ago.
Right. But the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example, aren't even included in the Bible here. I have them, right? I've been reading them, right? But this is the interesting thing.
No, they're included in there.
No,
actually, a lot of them were.
Where are they?
They're books. Like
they're not in here.
Yeah, the book of Daniel. Like
no. The actual Dead Sea Scrolls that we have now as an independent book, right? Those were not published with King James versions.
There's a lot of books that were part of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Remember, we put those together. There was no numbers before. Titles.
No.
We put those together so it'd be easier for people to read.
I have them independent at home, and I read it, and there are chapters there that are not in this Bible.
Chapters, but from one book, like from the book of Daniel, Ezekiel, Isaiah.
From the Dead Sea Scrolls themselves. Right.
But there's divisions in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So what are you talking about?
But that entire what was discovered later, you will not find in here, right? All of it's not in here, right? So really? Okay. Well, let's just do this. When we'll go home, we'll get the actual Dead Sea Scrolls that were printed by themselves, and we'll compare it, right? Because when were they discovered?
Because I think a few years ago.
A few years ago, right? So when these were being printed for hundreds and hundreds of years, those weren't even discovered yet.
Well, that's the thing though. When they discovered and they saw that a lot of those stuff that are in there, it's like, yeah, I will tell you this. Some stuff were not in there. But a lot of them,
we're getting there.
A lot of them were included right there. Remember,
so that's a great.
The Council of Nicaea, brother.
I agree with you. I'm 100% with you on that one. The Council of Nicaea ruined the Christian faith, right? By giving divinity to Jesus, who was a prophet.
Right. And where does that come from?
Right. Roman pagan. I'm with you, right?
So
the sun god.
The sun god on December 25th.
This guy's Muslim. I told you, man.
I know that. But, that doesn't describe.
So now let's agree to something, right? Yeah. Because me and you are on the same page, right?
Yeah. Somehow.
In a weird way. We are, and in a very clear way. I'm with. Trust me, I have a lot of discussions with Christians. You're the most Muslim I've ever met.
But believe me,
right?
bro.
So now, if you have some corruption in here, right? You agree to that, right? Yeah. There is some. We agree, right? Then wouldn't we make the judge?
Now, when I say this, I'm talking about versions.
Right.
The message is not corrupted.
Right, but let's talk about the message, right? The Council of Nicaea,
is not corrupted.
right? If you look at the numbers...
Wait. The reason why I tell you is this. If we say the message is corrected, we say that God is not perfect.
No.
So we have to be careful.
No, I don't think that's what we're saying. Okay. We're saying is God is perfect. And His message is perfect.
The message is perfect.
But people, like the Council of Nicaea, corrupt the message, right? They corrupt it, not God's message. Right. So what I'm saying is, if we know, like the numbers we just saw that don't match, right? That there is some addition, subtraction that was done, then we take that which is perfect and make that the judge, right? We say, look at what's in here, and if it matches that which is perfect, we believe in it. And if it doesn't, then we say, you know what?
But then what do we do with all the writings that
we keep it?
They're not real? Like, for example, the letters of Matthew.
Look, we keep everything, but we judge it against a message that was preserved in perfection. And let me give you.
There is a part in the I remember in the Quran. I remember like reading it, where it says, if you have any questions, to go back to the people of the way.
People of knowledge. Right. So what does that mean? Go and ask the people of remembrance, right? Meaning you go to the people who know the Quran, who know the Hadith, that know the Bible, that know history, and you and me as laymen, we go to those scholars with our questions and see what the answer is, right?
Well, at that point, remember when Muhammad's reading that, he's referring to the Christians.
Right, but he's talking about a general rule that's applicable for us as Muslims. And what is the rule is that if you don't know, go to the people of knowledge, right? It doesn't just mean Christians or Jews, right? It means, for example, if I have a question I don't know, I need to go to a scholar, right?